Welcome to the Business Women Australia Podcast Show, the podcast that brings together industry leaders to discuss the latest trends, insights and strategies. So sit back and relax, let's get inspired by the amazing women who are shaping the future of professional women in Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So welcome to the BWA Podcast Show. Today we're building a personal brand using video content, and our chat is streaming live across Meta, Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. Plus you can catch up and listen on your favourite channel. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, and you'll also find the recording of all our podcasts and our videos on the Business Women Australia website. I'm Lyn Hawkins. I'm the founder of Business Women Australia, and I'm on the traditional lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation in Boorloo in Perth. And I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I reckon they would love this topic because stories are a big part of knowledge sharing and cultural heritage for First Nations communities. So today I'm delighted to be in this world of storytelling and video marketing, and I've got the fabulous Alicia Lansdown. She's the founder of Botanical Content, and we're going to discover her journey to building a thriving business and the lessons she's learned along the way and why she thinks storytelling is such a powerful tool in marketing, and particularly the use of video stories. So this is going to be a great episode to tune into. If you have to leave us, you'll be able to find us on those catch-up platforms, and we'll be learning about the tips of using story-driven video and how to leverage this to actually showcase your unique qualities. So thanks so much for having us, Alicia. You've got a really interesting background. Tell us about your story and how you sort of got into founding Botanical Content.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lyn. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. I think we need to circle back to 2007 when I studied photography. And I studied photography. I so wanted to be a photographer. I wanted that to be my full-time job, but I just couldn't let go of, the paycheck. I couldn't let go of the full-time work. It was very, very daunting, and I just didn't feel like it was something that I could take on full-time. So it wasn't until 2012 I got made redundant. I was working for a web hosting company. They sent their customer service to the Philippines and I got made redundant. And I thought, well, here we go, let's give it a crack. And at the time it was like GFC and a lot of people weren't spending on photography, unfortunately, but I still wanted to realize that dream. So I thought, well, I don't know how to market myself as a photographer. So I started a marketing degree. And then I ended up working in marketing. I ended up loving marketing. And my last job in marketing was for a media company. I ended up being the head of marketing for them. And then I left and started to do some freelancing. And as I was doing some freelancing, I sort of freelanced as a videographer, a photographer, and a marketer, switching between those roles and integrating them into what I did. But I still wanted to start my own business. Like just being a freelancer wasn't like owning my own business. And again, I went through that whole stage of like, oh, I don't want to let go of these clients because they're paying for this life that I've created. And then COVID happened and, I lost all of my working clients, in one night and then that was the start. So I actually founded Botanical Content after the first lockdown. And it's been 4.5 years. And I'm absolutely loving being a business owner. There's so many things that I've learned along the way. I've had lots of ups and downs. Obviously, a second lockdown, I've taken on marketing clients and then I've decided I didn't want to do marketing anymore. So I guess what I've really learned through that is that you have to be so passionate about what you're doing and what you're delivering to your clients. Be really clear on your message and who you serve, because otherwise it just lands on crickets. No one connects with your message or no one connects with your brand and what you're trying to achieve. So, and how you help people. So many different lessons, as well as just not being a DIYer, because I used to work in web hosting and I've got the marketing skills. I'm very much like, cool, I can whip up a website in a day or whatever. So I've just, I'm learning even now just to like let that go and to, put it into the hands of the experts that have been keeping up with those trends over time. So, and I'm still learning.
It's one of the hardest things. I find the same thing. I come from a marketing and strategy background, and I have to remind myself to let the team get on with it. My role as a founder, as the director of the business, is more around those sort of growth strategies and around making sure that the team has got all the resources they need. And it really does, when you know that you've got this area of expertise, it does suck you back in again. It is challenging for those who've come out of a technical strength and then actually are in a leadership or a management role. And I see it too with, some of our members in our community who've come out of technical backgrounds like accounting or law, and then they become a partner and, they got their hands on the tools to some extent, but really it's around the management of the team and the business. So tell me, storytelling, such a powerful tool in marketing. And, you've got these incredible skills of having that foundation in marketing and then being able to bring in, your creative eye. So tell me, what can we do to build our personal brands using storytelling?
Well, I guess, people start businesses for a few different reasons. It's either they've got a passion for something, they've got a pain point that they're solving, or they've got extensive experience in a particular field. And generally there'll be a story behind that. There'll be a story of, what led them to that passion, how they found that passion, how they tripped and landed on that passion, or, that pain point has been something that's personal for them. It's a personal story, or it's a story in business that they've found, a gap in the market where, there's a problem and it needs to be solved. They want it solved for themselves. So, and then, the experience as well might be experience that they've gained in, say, a corporate role, and then they've left corporate to start a business. So it's the hero's journey really of like, that they were doing X, Y, and Z, and then, something happened, and they were able to overcome that challenge, and that's kind of how their business started. So, I like to think about that. Yeah.
That's so interesting. When I think about, why did I start my business? I was working full-time in corporate, in professional services, actually, as head of marketing and business development. And I was having a real tough time, 4 children, teenagers, one of them in particular that sort of probably needed me at home at the time. And so, I was getting very distracted at work, and the guys at work were like, do you want to go part-time? And I was like, yeah, I think I will. I'll work part-time. And I was like, before I'd taken on this role, I'd said to them I'd wanted to set up my own business. And they were like, why don't you work for us first, and then you can bring us back as a client, when you've set up your own business, but we need some whole bunch of stuff done. It's going to take at least 2 years project full-time. So I was saying to them, maybe this is my time now to actually step out and set up my business, and I can, still help transition the new marketing, director into the role, and still have you as a client. But my kids need me at home, and I think that running my own business from home is going to give me flexibility. And I just look like telling that story now. I just think, who wants to know that story? It's so boring.
You'd probably resonate with a lot of other women, though. Women who potentially need help with their marketing. They're in businesses, they're busy, and they need somebody to take that off them. Like, you're going to resonate with the other mothers out there that are struggling to find the time to do their marketing for, your marketing and strategy side of your business. So, I think sharing stories is quite powerful. And the one thing about sharing stories is, people make decisions based on emotion. And, if you connect with somebody on an emotional level, just by sharing your story, and, you can be very, you can curate that story So it's, you know what I mean? You don't, not sharing too much of that vulnerability, but you're sharing it in a way that connects with people that, you know, are your target audience.
It's probably really one of the most authentic ways of coming across, isn't it? You just can't hide. You can't hide when it's video. I mean, you can hide a little bit with a voiceover or, you know, and curated kind of reels and those sorts of things. But if it's a video, if you're talking to camera, your personality comes through if you've got it done correctly, right?
Yeah. Look, if you are leading with your heart when you are sharing your story and any piece of content, really, people can feel that. They can feel that you are passionate about what, or you have emotion behind that. If you're standing in front of a camera, and it's, you know, the hardest thing to do when you first start creating content is standing in front of a camera and really bringing that emotion forwards, because most people are quite nervous. So, but once you get over that and you start to strip those layers back, you really can connect quite deeply with an audience through video.
Is it hard to get people to relax? I mean, especially if they're new to this. What techniques do you use? Because I know some amazing experts that would do really well on video, but I know they're quite introverted. They would be thinking, oh, there's no way I'm going on video. I can't even get them to come and talk to me on a podcast. And I just say it's a chat. Just imagine it's just you and me, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I need to be honest, like I can talk very easily to camera, but when it comes time to talking in front of people, it's a whole nother ball game. So working with somebody and having the skills to talk on camera is really helpful. My number one tip is just start creating videos on your phone, start talking to yourself in the mirror, just looking at yourself. I did some acting a couple of years ago, and one of the techniques was to just stare at somebody, and you just stare at them and you call out their emotion. You say, oh, you're angry. And then they say, I'm angry. And you keep going until the emotion changes. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're happy. And then, you know what I mean? Your face starts to light up. And that technique was probably the number one technique that really got me in front of the camera, much more comfortable. And I don't even think about it now after doing that. So acting classes are fantastic. You working with a professional on-camera coach is also helpful. And then on shoot day, I actually get people to do silly things like jump up and down, dancing. We'll put the music on. Like I will sit with them before a shoot and we'll have a little bit of a brief. I'll ask them how they're feeling and, you know, what they're more comfortable with. Some people, like, it is better to stand. If you're trying to convey a message, standing is really good. But if the person is so nervous, I might just get them to sit down for a little bit until I can feel them warming up to the camera. Also, talking to the camera and looking at the camera as if the camera is your best friend. I've actually set up teleprompters in the past with photos of their friends on them instead of like a script rolling so that they're just talking to a friend.
That is so gorgeous. I love that idea. It's like the little blue light, the little green light, that's your best friend.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. I mean, some of our listeners are actually tuning in and they're saying one of them said, I've just started videoing and it completely sucks starting out. Watching yourself has mega ick factor, but it gets better each time. So it's like anything. Thanks, Melinda, for sharing a comment. It does. It's like practice is everything. It's like with public speaking. The more you get up there, the more you start to love it. I mean, I actually, the idea of talking to a video camera, I find myself a lot harder than being in an auditorium full of hundreds of people and facilitating a fireside chat with someone.
Yeah. Well, sounds like we need to share notes.
But I like these techniques. I love these techniques. So, you know, we've got a lot of women who are starting out in business. What are the strategies that you recommend for really standing out in this competitive market?
With video or just in general?
Well, I would love you to put video front and center, being botanical
Sure.
content person, but just in general, like when it comes to, should we have a mix? Should we be mixing it up? Should it be all video? I mean, what do you reckon?
Yeah. I think a mix is always good. Like not everyone isn't going to watch a video the whole way through. You want to cater to different styles of learners. Some people like to read, some people like to watch videos, some people are, visual, auditory. So you want to sort of cater to everyone. And while video does cater to sort of everyone, particularly when you're using captions on your videos, it can get a little bit overused if you're only using video. So I recommend a mix and always keeping up with, the trends. So for instance, and I'll just give you an example, when you land on somebody's website, they might have a brand video, but they don't just have video the whole way through their website. They've got text that complements that as well and images. So it's always good to use that sort of same thinking and apply that to social media and other platforms as well. So, yeah, I think a mix is always what I would recommend.
So how are the different ways of video being used that you've seen really well? Some of the more interesting ways that people are using video. Is everyone sort of doing like talking to camera, and is it good to have it on your phone, or is it better to have more formal?
Yeah. Look, I think it depends. If you are somebody who, like, say, for instance, you're a politician or somebody who's really famous, you're not going to be using your phone, really. And I don't recommend that. But for anyone that has a business, like I use my phone most of the time. I think having a mix is really good. The beauty of using your phone is that you can just pick up your phone at any time if you've got a thought or if you've got something that you want to share, and you can quickly film that. But then working with a professional to bring out some other pieces of content is always like a great idea, I think.
Yeah.
Just to get those key pieces out. Plus, I recommend for social media doing a mix of professionally produced and phone-produced content, and then everything on your website, your home, should be professionally produced. Yes, in my opinion. I just think that that's your home, and you want to curate that in the most beautiful way that you can. Social media comes and goes. You know what I mean? You might spend, say, $1,000 producing 10 or so videos, and people see them in 5 seconds and they're gone. So having those pieces on your website, and the pieces on your website are those trust building pieces. They are your brand film. They're your case studies and testimonials. Out in social media, it's, providing value to people. On your blog, again, providing value to people. So content, how-tos, insights, industry insights and updates and things like that.
Amazing. Yeah. So there's lots of different things, just mentioned some ideas there of how we can use video on our website, the more professionally produced ones, the testimonials, the case studies, some sort of thought leadership, perhaps that's evergreen, that's not necessarily going to date.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thought leadership stuff is probably underrated sometimes, and thought leadership as a word or as two words put together, people cringe at. But I think it really positions that person, particularly from a personal brand perspective, it positions that person as the leader in that industry who's sharing insights as well as like predictions and positioning themselves as an expert, because at the end of the day, that is going to help you stand out from the competition. A lot of people are scared to get on camera. So if you can overcome the fear of getting in front of the camera to share your insights and your wisdom and your knowledge and your unique perspective, people are going to connect with a unique perspective. And, while 10 people might do the same job, each one of those 10 people has a unique perspective. They've got unique background that they've come from. They've got a unique way of looking at things. And that's what makes being a human so beautiful, that we have this unique perspective, which is why, and I'm just going to butt in and say that AI is not going to take over your job, because people aren't connecting with AI. You know, I've seen some AI video stuff out there. I think it's a little bit cringy because I just like that authenticity piece that just comes through when you do, you know, the ums and ahs and the things that come out. Like I don't filter any of that stuff when I create content because, you know, while I'll get better, it's, you know, why hide where I'm at?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been playing around with some AI video with Australian accents, and there's one out there at the moment. It's just hilarious. It makes me laugh so much when I listen to it. I said to Kate, I didn't have time to do the video overlay with my recorded voices. I've been so busy. And she says, oh, don't worry, I found an AI Australian accent. And I was listening to it the other night and I'll go, oh, God, I'm going to leave it out there and see if anyone comments because it's so funny. It's so funny. Anyway, yeah, I probably should. I probably should be a little more serious about the Business Women Australia brand. But hey, we're experimenting all the time, you know.
Exactly, and that's what I love about video as well. And what I tell people is just experiment.
Yeah,
see what works. Yeah,
I think perhaps this desire to be perfect actually gets in the way of a lot of professional, executive and entrepreneurial women in particular of having a crack because the fear of making a mistake, the fear of looking like an idiot, the fear of, you know, of my jowls hanging too low, you know, whatever it might be, you know, like this is who I am. Like, don't compare me on video to my beautiful LinkedIn photo because I did take that a long time ago. I do need to get you to take a big photo of me. But it's hilarious, right? It's like it's the mindset that stops us from doing this because of the judgment that we put on ourselves and that we think other people. Thank you. Are we getting low? Obviously, I've hit a nerve here. I've got comments coming in. Agree, it's that genuine connection. We want to see real, totally agree on the authenticity in the video, the human emotions. Thanks a lot. On LinkedIn, we're getting loads of comments. Thank you for those of you commenting. It makes us feel like we're not just sitting here talking together. But mind you, we do love that, don't we, Alicia?
Yeah, I'm loving having a chat. It's great. But yeah, look, on that point, you know, it is the underlying belief systems that stop us from really getting on camera and showing up. And it's scary at first. And even I have had moments where I was like, oh my God, should I have shared that? Or should I have posted that video? And then I've just had to walk away from it and go, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, self-judgment, totally. It's something that, you know, we all have to overcome. And we need to, I think my biggest tip in that area is focusing on where I'm going and what I'm sharing and how that's going to help people, and focusing on that as a goal as opposed to what is wrong with me, because we're all perfect already. There's nothing that you need to change. There is nothing you need to change to start creating video and showing up. And once you just focus on who you're helping and how you're helping them, then all of that washes away. I promise.
That is such a great reminder, you know, and that's often what I can't listen to even my podcasts, you know, my voice. I still feel like I've got this strange voice, you know, still waiting for it to break. And it's obviously not going to, but people recognize me and love to listen to my imperfections and love seeing me stuff up. And it makes everyone else feel, hey, if she can do that as a founding director of Business Women Australia, then actually maybe we can have a go too. And it's actually okay.
It is. I posted a video a few weeks ago and I had a hat on and piggy tails and I was like, here I am, I'm showing up. And everyone loved it. Like I had a woman reach out to me and she said, thank you so much. Like I would before doing a video, I would like do my makeup and then I'd film it and then I'd throw it away because, you know, it wasn't perfect. But she said that I gave her the permission to, you know, to be imperfect and to just show up. So I think, yeah, for me, that's more important than having all my ducks in a row and everything being absolutely perfect.
So tell me, if there is a listener who's keen to start this journey and start bringing impactful videos into their strategies, what are the first steps that you'd recommend them do?
Look, just start. Just start. If you I've got this beautiful smartphone video course on my website. You can have a look at that. It's absolutely free to watch. Work with a professional. If you don't want to do it yourself, work with a professional who can bring the best out of you. Get some on-camera presenting training so you can take it to the next level. And work with somebody. If you want to refine your story, you're a little bit worried, I don't want to let that out, that feels too vulnerable, or, I just need a succinct sort of story that I want to build around my brand, then work with somebody who can help you with that. And then, just start. Literally just start. I always welcome people to, if they want to, just start creating some videos on your phone. Send them to me. I'll give you some feedback. I will not be harsh or judge you. But I just love helping people. Just start.
Look, I think that's a great motivator, and to not make it complicated. I mean, how long would be a good little starting video to do? Like, keep it to a certain length, or?
Yeah, like 15 to 30 seconds. Short and sharp. For social media, just short and sharp.
So, I mean, 15 to 30 seconds, what are some of the things I could do for 15 or what can I even talk about? I don't think I've ever had a 15-second discussion about anything.
Yeah, it's actually quite a long time, actually. But if you're like, hey, here's my top tip for doing X, Y, and Z. Here's my top marketing strategy before you start. Like, before you start marketing, do this.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's the hard part of the thing, is like coming up with things like, what on earth would I do?
Yeah.
So having a bit of a content brainstorming session might be a good thing that we could do as a webinar, Alicia.
100%. Yeah.
I reckon that might be it. I mean, if those of you who are listening, our members, if you want us to do a webinar where we actually smash out in perhaps an hour or something, everyone does some content brainstorming and you walk away with a whole bunch of things that you can actually go and start doing on your phones, or if you want to, or writing in articles, however way it could be. I think we might do that, little bit of a content brainstorming day.
Awesome.
I'm just writing that down so I don't forget, because you know what I'm like with my little. Now, let's wrap up. Anything else before we talk about what's coming up? Anything else that you wanted to share in terms of video marketing that we haven't covered?
Look, I think overall, I just wanted to share that, personal branding now is everything. People don't buy from brands, they buy from people. So if you can bring you to the forefront, what you care about, what you love, what you're passionate about, and how you help people are going to connect with that. Like, I'm really excited for people who are just busting to get their personal brand out there, because it really is the number one thing that is going to cut through and get you the results that you need in your business.
Well, that is super helpful, and I reckon that we've covered so much in our chat today, and so many more. I've written down some extra topics that we can cover off later on. We have some wonderful offers for Business Women Australia community for our members. We will make sure that those offers are going to be sent out as a follow-up with the recording of this podcast. And if you're subscribed to the e-news or the newsletter of Business Women Australia, then you will receive that special offer. And we're going to have a studio day for Business Women Australia community members. If you're interested in being a part of the studio day, you've booked out the studio. What suburb is the studio in? Chippendale, is it?
It's in Chippendale, yeah. So
in Chippendale, it's only 10 minutes walk from Central Station, and we've got the studio booked for the 4th of April, haven't we?
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, so there will be 6 very, very fortunate Business Women Australia community members who will get the opportunity to work with Alicia on that day. And we are going to be offering that as a super duper special offer. In fact, I think we're going to do a deal where they can do some testimonials for Business Women Australia and for Alicia. And what is it going to, something that's normally $3,000? What are they going to be getting that for?
Yeah, $1,497.
$1,497.
Yes.
So if you're interested in that offer's coming out, make sure you're subscribed to our e-news. You can subscribe on the website. There's a subscribe button. Otherwise, you can email me, lyn@businesswomenaustralia.com.au, and I'll make sure that you get that special offer. So wonderful to have you, Alicia. There's so much to do. Let's get this webinar organised in the calendar for later on this year for that content brainstorming hour, a power hour of content. Let's do it.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show, and we'll get you back again later on the year and see how it's all going.
Sounds good.
You have been listening to the Business Women Australia podcast show. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and gained some valuable insights to empower you on your journey. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to stay updated in our latest episodes. And if you're not already a member of Business Women Australia, what are you waiting for? Head to our website today and join so that you can connect with a thriving community of inspiring women across Australia. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.